So everybody, the Super Bowl just finished up just the other day, and I haven't talked about it yet, so I figured I'd come on here and discuss the game. It was a very interesting clash between the Kansas City Chiefs at 15-2 and the Philadelphia Eagles at 14-3. Now, if I pull up the score, you might think, oh, it wasn't that bad of a game. They only lost by 18 points. That's nothing crazy. It's not a good game, but they must have done fine, right? Well, the score does not reflect that they basically lost this game 40-6. They scored 2 touchdowns in garbage time, which in essence did not do anything and only helped pad Patrick Mahomes' stats. So if you look at the stats, it doesn't seem like Mahomes did particularly awful. So 21 completions, 32 attempts, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Almost all of his yards and 2/3 of his touchdowns came in the last 10 minutes after they've already, they know they're going to lose. They're just doing stuff for stats. Sirianni's already had his Gatorade bath, and it doesn't, in my mind, count for anything. But I'm getting too deep into it already. I'll get to that in a moment. First off, just some blanket statements about the game. I think the game itself was not liking the Chiefs. It was really fun to watch. It's being, oh my gosh, the Eagles are going to win their second Super Bowl. I have a Jalen Hurts jersey, and I was really happy to see them get the victory and everything. The Chiefs' defense was rough, not as bad as their offense. Their offense was awful, but the Chiefs' defense was below average, very below average. And the Eagles offense was just clicking on every cylinder. Everything they did was working. They didn't really punt at all until the third quarter. At the end of that first half, it was 27-0. The game was over at halftime. I'm sorry, there's no 28-3 Mahomes magic there. The Brady magic is in the broadcast booth, not on the field this time around. So at that point, I knew the game was over, and I was really happy about it. I got to watch this with a few of my friends. It was really fun. And then if we talk about just pre-halftime stuff, it was the Eagles were getting everything done. The Chiefs couldn't complete a pass to save their lifetime. Travis Kelce played like he's 45 years old, and overall just played like that the whole game, if I'm being honest. It was just terrible by the Kansas City Chiefs. They completely blew up. And I saw this thing online, today about, the dynasties of all time. And it's the Patriots, the Niners, the Cowboys, all those guys during their dynasties, and how many times they were blown out in the Super Bowl during those times. Niners, none. Cowboys, none. Patriots, none. Chiefs, 2 already. And it's a very fraudulent dynasty, if I'm being honest. Is this my Chiefs hate coming out? Yes. It's just how things are. But, oh well. Nevertheless, let me keep going through those stats that I was talking about. Rushing, the leader in rushing yards for the team was Patrick Mahomes with 25 yards. High roller. Second to that was 9 yards by Kareem Hunt. His longest rush was 6 yards. The entire game. So, yeah. Xavier Worthy was the only player that could apparently catch a football. He went 8 receptions, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which statistically, it's not a bad game, and I'm happy for him. He's a rookie, he's earned it. But everybody else on the team had a combined 70 yards. 39 from Kelce, who, as I said, mid. Marquise Brown had 15. DeAndre Hopkins had 18, and that one terrible drop in the first half. Noah Gray did nothing. Kareem Hunt did nothing. Juju Smith-Schuster did a little bit. It was just overall a really, really bad game by the Chiefs. And it's I like the players, some of the players on the Chiefs. As a person, I like Mahomes, just religious stuff. I like DeAndre Hopkins because he's a veteran. It was nice seeing him get a touchdown. I like Xavier Worthy. I like all the players, or most of the players on the roster. I just don't like the team because of them being a dynasty, and I'm not a dynasty guy. I always like variety. That's why I prefer the NFC as a whole and the NFC playoff picture, because since 2002 there have been 7 quarterbacks to represent the AFC. Um, there have been like 22 or like 18 since. And that's just a wild stat. It's really really cool. But I digress. The Chiefs were really really bad. But the Eagles, you want to talk about a good game? They were doing so well they put in Kenny Pickett. I think that's all I need to say. They were doing well enough that they put in Kenny frickin' Pickett, who has more Super Bowls than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, by the way. Good job, Steelers fans. You drafted the right guy. Nevertheless, Jalen Hurts went 17 for 22 for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception really early on. He did end up winning MVP by the end of the game. That was really nice to see for him. You know, he wasn't like crazy emotional, but you could see it behind the eyes. Saquon did next to nothing, which I thought was really, really weird. He rushed 25 times for 57 yards, didn't score. He just really he just stopped. And I think I know why that is. The Chiefs saw, okay, the Eagles run on Saquon Barkley. Let's stop Saquon. And forgot to stop everybody else. Because if you look at the wide receivers, Saquon had 6 receptions for 40 yards, so that's where most of his yards came from. Jahan Dotson had 2 for 42, and if you're allowing yards to Jahan Dotson, you've already got some problems. Dallas Goedert had 27, Brown had 43, Devonta Smith had 69, nice. Brown and Smith both had a receiving touchdown each. Hurts had a rushing touchdown. It was just overall a really good game, and then there was Cooper DeJean getting one in. We love Cooper DeJean here. Jake Elliott was perfect. Like, you just look at the stats, it's perfect for the Eagles. It was a great game for them. And 40-22 does not reflect the game as a whole. The game is 40-6, despite what the score may say. I was asked to also talk about the halftime show, which I thought was really fun. I know a lot of people don't like the show as a whole, just as a visual spectacle, but I think it wasn't really meant to be a musical thing, but more of a message and a visual, like, oh, I see what he's doing here. Like Sam Jackson talking about the great American game and stereotypes and, you know, the PlayStation buttons being the different stages. I do think that he could have done a little better with like actual entertainment rather than just being a message, but I get what he was doing there. SZA was there. That was really, really cool seeing SZA there. I don't really listen to SZA all that much, but I know she's a really good artist. There was also Serena Williams, just there. She was just doing a boogie. So I don't know what you really want me to say about that. She was just present. And the halftime show as a whole, as I was saying, a lot of like symbolism in there, like stepping backwards in time and, you know, like a jail block or whatever. And then the flag being divided. I understand what he's going for. It's a political thing. I don't really want to get into that. But I see where he was going for, so I'm not necessarily I didn't not like it overall, but I think in the moment I was like, whatever. So beyond all that, nothing really crazy went on during the game. There was a really nice touchdown by Devonta Smith, a really nice touchdown by Xavier Worthy, and overall really good performance from the Eagles and just Xavier Worthy. He was the only player who played well for the Chiefs. A player that did not play well, matter of fact, 5 players that did not play well, is the offensive line, because they were awful during this game. They allowed 6 sacks, allowed Mahomes to fumble, which I guess is Mahomes' fault, but still. Mahomes threw 2 of his interceptions, mostly because of his line bumping into him. There was another one in there somewhere. There was probably a bunch of like behind the line tackles for loss. Yeah, tackles for loss. Like, it was a really bad performance by the offensive line. And as an offensive lineman, I can't really speak on an NFL team that made it to the Super Bowl about being, you know, bad. But the Eagles defense whooped their ass on that field. And like, props to the Eagles defense. They were incredible this entire game. As I said, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, one of which for a touchdown, a forced fumble, like a bazillion tackles for loss. really, in essence, only allowing 6 points because I still don't count those other two. Great job all around by Philadelphia and a middling job at best for KC. So that was my thoughts on the Super Bowl. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Make sure to let me know down in them comments down below. Make sure you have a good day, good evening, good night, good morning, good dawn, good dusk, good whatever. Make sure to watch any former or future videos on the channel. And today, appropriately, I'll leave you with Jalen Hurts. I don't know if you can see it. There you go, Jalen Hurts. And on the back of this card, which is from his MVP year, Super Bowl MVP year, it says, quote, "Praise steadily comes Hurts' way. He pays more attention to the wins that comes the Eagles' way." He said, quote, "I worry about my goals and our standards and our goals as a football team," crediting his college coach, Nick Saban. "I control what I can. I keep the main thing, which is what he did in the Super Bowl, keeping the Super Bowl the main thing and winning his second one, or the Eagles' second one ever for Philly. And goodbye.